or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
American has such a huge identity crisis, and this goes back like decades. If you're someone from California, you learn about the Chicano movement, and the term Chicano is about Mexican Americans because they didn't feel accepted in the United States. They didn't feel accepted by Mexico. So what a lot of people do, in my opinion, is a lot of people kind of like identify very heavily with being Mexican, as even though Mexican is not a race, it's like a nationality. Obviously, I wish people who were Mexican identified more with being Native American, because if you look at the history of most people who are like the stereotype Mexican, are of indigenous descent. I think when people think of a Mexican in their head, they think of an indigenous man or indigenous woman. And so I really wish more people would identify with that. The U.S. has done such a good job of erasing like Native Americans that people don't even identify with them, even though it's part of their heritage.
For being a Mexican.
You ever eat a tamale? It's actually pronounced tamal, singular. Tamal is plural, but let's go with tamale. You ever eat one? Pretty good, aren't they? How about avocado? You know the root word to avocado is aguacate. And if you're from out west like I am, maybe you've run across a coyote. It's pronounced coyote. You know what all these words have in common? None of them are Spanish. They are all Nahua, the language of my ancestors, a remnant of the blood that still runs through my veins. You know when a Mexican does the 21andMe ancestral DNA test, you know what it comes back as? It comes back as anywhere from 45 to 55% Native American. You know why that is? That's because all Euro-Aztec and Nahua-speaking peoples are related to some indigenous tribes here in the U.S. Now, some people have different definitions of what it is to be indigenous and what it means to be foreign. But I'm a simple man, and my definition is pretty simple. And it applies whether or not you're first generation or 27th generation, whether your family came over on the Niña Pinto or Santa Maria, or they came over on the Mayflower and landed on Plymouth Rock. It makes no difference. Now, you might not agree with it, but you can't dispute it. The difference between indigenous and foreign is simply this. You either met the boat or you came over on it. Tate taske, makwale ochle.
Shalom, fam. Shalom, shalom. Lord willing, y'all are doing well. Y'all are doing well. Hey, I want to say something about this. My kind of way of doing things, and I don't know. I like to do things formal. You know what I mean? Like this is a channel, and I like to have the presentation. I don't know, man. I just like order. You know what I'm saying? And I think it all makes sense because this is our channel, and I want to make sure that we have standards in this way So people can expect some type of so-called, for lack of better words, professionalism in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all understand where I'm coming from, fam. I want to make sure this is presentable for y'all and for anybody that's new to this channel. Okay. Listen, the topic that I had in mind. By the way, shalom, estudiantes, shalom, east side. Tlaka ka meiti mase walikni Wheatley. Shalom, peace, pass all. I hope I said it right. Um, I wanted to talk about this topic, family, because I we talk about like the laws of God. Hey, good morning, sis. Good morning, shalom. We talk about the laws of God. We talk about um all sorts of things, right, in regards to keeping the commandments and that type of deal. Sorry to put it in that kind of lame, like just simple way, but in reality that's kind of like, hey, keep the laws of God, put your fringes on, da da da, don't sin. So I pay attention to others, other schools every now and then to kind of see how they're teaching what they're teaching, you know what I'm saying, especially because our people are in there. And there's a few, man, that I kind of like. I see where they're going, and all praises. They don't push the whole agenda of colorism. I don't. It doesn't sound like they're pushing Black Jesus. They are teaching, I think, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are Israelites. So at least in that end, in regards to the imagery, I don't believe they're pushing it. Um, but they mention sin. Like don't sin, right? So I kind of pondered on that, family, and I'm like, sin, sin. What the hell is sin? I mean, I know what transgression of the law. We get it. But what does sin do? Why is sin so important for us to understand? Why does that matter? And what exactly is behind the spirit of sin? Because it's a spirit. You see, family, I have a son that's sick, and y'all know, whoever doesn't, I have a son that's got autism, severe. He gets attacked almost on a daily basis by these spirits. Oh, my bad. My office is. No, I can't answer that right now. Come on. I said I wasn't going to be able to. My bad, pet people. My bad, family. Um, my son, he suffers a lot from being attacked consistently. He'll bite his lip, or he'll try to injure himself. Right? Lord praises, all praise to the Most High that he's not doing what he used to, but he's still getting attacked. And he says that there are thoughts. That thoughts come into his mind and tell him to do those things. So I'm like, Galatians 5:19 came to mind. Mark 5. So let's read this, all right? It says, and they, Mark 5:1, it says, and they came over unto the side of the sea, unto the country of the Gadarenes. And when they was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. So for right now, it's identifying it as one spirit, unclean, sucio, dirty. You know what I'm saying? Who had his dwelling among the tombs. This is an individual now. And no man could bind him, no, not with chains. I'm going to read it to you guys, and then I'm going to show y'all something. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice, and said, what have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of Man, Most High God? I adjure thee, by God, that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And when he asked him, what is thy name? He answered and said, and he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. But initially it was one spirit, right? So there are many in one. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. This is the Spirit talking to the Messiah. Now there was nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the devils besought him, saying, "Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them." Why the swine? Because it's an unclean flesh. Why did he pick the swine? He didn't go to the cow. He didn't go to the sheep. He said the swine, fam. And forthwith Jesus gave them, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. And the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. And they were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. You see that, family? Now let's go here. Let's see. Where's you at? Where you at? And they began to pray to the coast, and least suffered it not, and departed punished. I think it's another scripture maybe that talks about how he wanted to walk with him, or maybe another verse. But you see the unclean spirits and the thoughts that jumped into these swines. They controlled these animals. So what is a sin? Legion, army, many. Yeah. Religion. Yeah, that's right, bro. There's a lot of them in that. So that's that mindset of religion. What is the definition of religion? I'm glad you bring up that topic. What's religion? Religion definition. A belief in or worship of a superhuman controlling power, a personal god or gods, a particular system of faith or worship, a particular thought process, maybe. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see what I'm looking for. Get out of the way. A set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, the purpose of universe. A set of beliefs, meaning thoughts. A specific fundamental set of beliefs, fundamental, meaning rooted by, and practice generally agreed upon by a number of persons, meaning your actions. So you remember that whole, esoteric concept, your thoughts are things. The body of persons adhering to a particular set of beliefs. The body of persons, the life, the practice of religious belief, something one believes in and follows devotedly, meaning you actually act on it. So that's religion, that you're acting on it. And religion is teaching us what? This right here. I'm glad you brought that out, Estudiante, man. All praises to the Most High for that one, brother. It goes into my class. All praises. Sirach 21:11, it says, "He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof, and the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom." Watch this real quick. Sirach 17:11. "Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for a heritage." And what does religion teach? Other beliefs, other doctrines, other thoughts, other spirits. He made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his judgments. No, that's not what Christianity teaches. They open the door for everybody. Now, you guys realize that covenant is a contract? You can't break a contract, family. That's an army. That's right. So these armies are attacking the contract. They're taking the contract away from us, saying, no. You guys don't worry about it, fam. Don't worry about it. There's no contract involved. Most High, God chose everybody. How do you lose a heritage? By not isolating the privilege that we once had. By not having a heritage, then we are subject to what? Sin. And we're subject to who? Legions. Religions. Faith. Our thoughts. You see, when you make an agreement, like for example, in construction, some of y'all understand this. If I say, all right, I'm gonna hire you to, because I could kind of dab a little bit into construction, but I'm not good, like great. You know what I mean? Let's say I go, I need some work. I need to redo my kitchen, and I want it like this, and this, and this is a contract, and I signed, like, yeah, and you agreed. That's a consideration in Black's law terminology. Consideration, meaning that I'm gonna pay you for your services, and you're gonna build me a kitchen based on the blueprint and all the design and all of that stuff, right? Okay, so that's an agreement. That's the contract by law. You have to honor it, and I got to honor it too by paying. If anybody breaks it, guess what? We can go to court and I can lose the case. So in this case, you take away my heritage, you give me the opening to go sin. What are we that much different? We're no different than swines when you look at the flesh, family. That's the heavy point. You see this skin that you live in? It's a doorway to hell. And I mean in a sense of sin. So I want y'all to remember this, because a lot of times we say sin, temptation, but temptation and sins are thoughts, fam. And when you have no law, no heritage, no understanding of where you're from, who you are, and what your battle is against, what are you subject to? Sin, temptations, your flesh, your thoughts. Then your thoughts become things. Everything that this entire universe talks about is all biblical, man. All these 42 laws of Ma'at, they got them from the Bible. They try to say that it was the other way around. Okay, really? So who populated the earth? Oh, you're going to say 30,000 years ago? Okay, fine, whatever. Then we got nothing to talk about. Remember what the Most High did. Why did he give us these laws? I mean, seriously, you guys got to ponder on these things, man. Remember, it says meditate therein day and night on the scriptures. Meditate in order to understand and have a better clarity as to what the Most High wants from us. Psalms 147:19 says he showed his word unto Jacob. So I'm like, okay, son, listen, I'm going to give you laws. I chose you out of all the people of the earth. His statutes and the judgments unto Israel. So what does that mean? Then he says he had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, the other nations, have not known them. So what exactly does sin mean? Why is sin more applicable to us and not them? They deal with issues too, don't they? Don't you think they have spirits as well? Yeah, they do. But why is it that we are defined by whether we sin or not? Just like the Messiah said, or I believe, no, not the Messiah. Genesis 4, 5, 6, I think, regarding Cain. The Most High told him, sin is at the door, meaning sin is in your mind, meaning sin is in the flesh, meaning give way to it, you become it. Watch this. Look what Sirach 4, why do you think Sirach 2 says this? Sirach 2:4 says, whatsoever is brought upon thee in your mind, take cheerfully, meaning temptation, in a sense of how and why you're being tempted. Knowing this first, family, that you got temptation right in your flesh, and you got to know how to battle that. And that's the spirit that you're going to deal with forever and ever. So how do you discipline yourself from not sinning, from not feeding into that spirit that comes in your mind and says, hey, man, that's a damn good idea, brother. Man, that girl look good. That drink looks awesome. Yo, man, come on. One more drink, one more shot. That line don't look that bad. Man, that quick money, I'm going to spread my legs. Why not? Those are thoughts, fam. Those are thoughts. Spirits are thoughts. For gold is tried in fire. Remember that. How do you burn a thought? Well, how do you get rid of it? You burn that thought. You say, you nip it in the butt. No, we're not going that route. Whatsoever is brought upon you, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low state. That's a state of mind. That's why when the Messiah was not challenged, but he was tempted by the Satan, he was tempted in several ways. For the sake of time, I don't want to go there. He was oh, you can get the kingdom. You can do this. You can do that. You can do that. And then he departed. 40 days. You don't think he was tempted? It's a seasonal thing, family. That's why for gold is tried in fire. That fire, you has to go through the temptations. You have to deal with those spirits. How do you overcome them? They're not some imaginary freaking spirit, family. They're in your freaking mind. For gold is tried in fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. That adversity is in the mind, meaning what? Thoughts are spirits. Think about that for a moment. I may blow your minds up for a moment. Just hang in there with me. You remember how I mentioned that this is a matrix? Think about it for a moment, family. We're a computer. Like for your mind is a computer. Just for example, just to understand, our minds are computers. Thoughts are programs. You can either make them a program that's going to function for you properly, or you can have a virus and make sure that your program is dysfunctional. Those viruses are actual thoughts, and those viruses are who? Spirits. So if you're completely empty, you got no program, you got no heritage, you got no laws, you got no statutes, you got no commandments. You don't know why you're being cursed. You don't know why you're being judged. You don't know why the hell this happens and they don't happen to. Why am I getting my butt whooped, but every single damn evil person does not do what happens to them, what happens to me? If you don't know that, then guess what? You're an empty vessel, meaning you give way to thoughts. To Galatians 5:19. That's why it says, believe in him and he will help thee. What other way was he going to help us? Order thy way all right and trust in him, meaning order your mind. Have priorities. Know not to trim your ways. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, patience, and go not aside lest ye fall. Then it says, ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. What is the reward, family? Well, you think it's women? You think it's a nice car? Discipline. That's your reward. In this walk right now? Because listen, we could sit here and do one West teachings. Ak, you're gonna get the kingdom, Ak. Hey, the hell with women. Yeah. Esau. Wear your fringes. Don't sin. Do as much as you can not to sin. Okay, how do I not do that? What the hell does it even mean? That's Christianity. I came from Christianity. They told me the same thing. Didn't they tell y'all the same thing? Just don't sin. That's easy to say. But what is sin? How are we dealing with it? How can we deal with it? And how do we know what it is in the first place so we can understand how to defend it? If we don't have the answers, we will lose all the time. We already came from that background, family. Our parents did not have the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why 2 Corinthians 14:34 says this. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding, meaning your own thoughts, and reform your heart, meaning your mind, ye shall be kept alive. How? By knowing that temptation, that sins are thoughts. The attack is that. Why do you think it says the helmet of salvation, family? So Rock 18:30, go not after thy lust. Refrain thyself from thine appetite. That is telling you in your mind who determines whether you go lusting or not. Man, that's a great scripture. Watch this real quick. Bro. Appreciate that. James 1:14, it says it. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So now let's look at this pattern of thought. But every man is tempted. Boom, right there. Sirach 18:30. Go not after thy lust. So every man is tempted, right? Then it says, but refrain thyself from thine appetite. Here we go back to James 1:14. But every man is tempted. You tempted, Eastside. You tempted, Estudiante. You tempted, Jennifer. Thoughts come in your mind. As soon as you see it come in, bam, identify that thing. But every man is tempted. And if you don't, when he is drawn away of his own lust, meaning the thought comes in, the spirit is in your mind, that spirit of covetousness, that spirit of concupiscence, that spirit of evilness, that spirit of bitterness, that spirit of anger, that spirit of, man, I want to hold around as much as I can. Or that spirit of, I want to get drunk. Because y'all don't think I go through that every day. Just one, bro. That'd be so nice. I can't. I know my pattern. But every man is tempted, meaning when you have the thought, nip it in the butt. Or when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So now the thought comes in. The spirit is dwelling in you. Okay? You're not keeping the laws of God. We go back to, again, I'm throwing a lot here, but I'm going to say it. Matthew 12. The spirit that comes in, 7 more he brings back. So now you're like not keeping the laws, not furnished, nothing. You're like, man, you might redo this whole house. So now, because you're not rooted and you got 7 more spirits on top of the one that you had already who lives in you, you're enticed. Then when lust has conceived, meaning that spirit completely is programming your mind, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. And then that reset happens. Pa-ching, restart. Like, oh, damn, I can't believe I did that. Then you feel like crap, horrible. And the sin is like, yo, I'm done, bro. That sin is a spirit. Then when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, meaning a spirit, and sin, meaning the spirit, when it's finished, meaning when it's done with you, when it puts you back in a way worse a spot than you were before, bringeth forth death. Why you think it says in Sirach 11, 17:11? No, 21:11 says, like it gives us life. That's our life. All over the scriptures, it talks about subduing your own mentality, subduing your own understanding. All over the scriptures, it mentions that. 2 Corinthians 14:34. Let's go back to that real quick. It says, therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive. And after death, ye shall obtain mercy. Not, you don't want the death that is in sin, or meaning the death that you go swimming around and dancing with the spirits. You're dancing with the devil. I mean, exactly it. Ye shall obtain mercy. No, the death that you want is the one that at the end of the day, you had a good fight. You did all you could. Lord willing, the Most High has mercy on you. Wisdom of Solomon says the same thing of what we battle. We battle the lust, the flesh. Look, watch. Wisdom of Solomon 9:14. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable. So what are thoughts? Spirits. Why you think when you go get an alcoholic drink, they call them spirits? Because your mind, your thought process changes. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable. Sin, temptation, lust, your pattern. You got to know it, family. You got to know what spirits are like. It's like this. What's that race? You know, the whole race where you like pass the baton? The spirits are like that. Like, okay, my turn. Bro, they'll run a train on you guys. I ain't going to lie to you. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable. I'm telling you. Verse 13. For what is he? I'm sorry, no. Verse 14, sorry. My glass. I need my glasses. I need my glasses. I need my glasses. I'm going to go get them today, family. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable. And our devices are but uncertain. Why? Because like I said before, for the lack of better terms, your brain is empty. So you either program it or they'll program you. In a sense, our devices are but uncertain. Without the laws of God, you got nothing in your mind. For the corruptible body, meaning your flesh, the one like the pig that carries all the, like the swine that carries all the spirits, press it down the soul. And the earthly tabernacle weighed down the mind that museth upon many things. So now it's telling you the mind, the thought process that you just called, you dwell on a bunch of different damn things. Those are spirits, family. 2 Corinthians 12. Watch this. Watch what it says here. So why? Why are we dealing with them? Why? This is because unless 2 Corinthians 12:7, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn of flesh. This is Paul saying, like, he was taught directly from the Messiah. Okay. So he says, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, meaning exalted above measure, that I may know more than the scriptures about, like a lot of y'all, for example. That's what he's saying, right? There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. So what are these temptations? To buffet you, family. To buffet you. Now you know why it's important to know your pattern. Why it's important to understand who you are according to the Bible. Why it's important to examine yourself. If you don't examine yourself, then you're not going to know what you're dealing with. Galatians 5:19. And they're just going to run a train on you. Sorry to put it that way. For the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. You see that? Meaning, It's a war, family. These are contrary one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So again, you can't worship two masters. But see, in the flesh, you know who that is. And in the spirit, if you're Hebrew, you know who that is. You know what that is. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are under the law. That's the point. Now the works of the flesh are made manifest, which are these: adultery, thoughts; fornication, thoughts; uncleanness, lasciviousness, those are thoughts; idolatry is a thought; witchcraft is a decision, is a thought; hatred, that's a decision; variance, emulation, wrath, strife, sedition; heresies, envy, and murder; drunkenness, reveling; such alike, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. All of these are thoughts, fam. All of them. You gotta guard your mind like there's no tomorrow. Watch this. Tobit 12:10 is a very simple one. But they that sin are enemies of their own life. How do you sin? By entertaining the flesh. By not knowing what you deal with. See, there's ignorance in not knowing, and then there's stupidity in knowing and doing it. Listen, surely I will keep closed nothing from you. For I said it was good to keep close the secrets of a king, but that it was honorable to reveal the works of God. So this is a secret, family. This is me sharing with y'all what was being revealed to me through the scriptures. As I'm reading it with y'all, this is happening. You got to really read deeper into these scriptures and find some sense in regards to what is asking of you. You see, family, the reason I'm sharing this is because we're spiritual beings. I know that not beings like as in beans, frijoles, beings. So if you have that type of spirit, then you require a very much deeper understanding in the scripture in order for you to get it. That's why the Most High. That's why the Messiah spoke in parables. It ain't for everybody. That's why Paul was a stumbling block, purposeful, because this ain't for everybody. Luke 22:31. Watch what it reads. It says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan had. Wait, is this it? Luke 30:22? No, don't tell me that I got the wrong one. I've been doing this almost in every single class. Why? I need to get rid of this, man. Anyways, all right. Well, maybe there's a reason behind it. I'll come back to it. Maybe there's something in there. Proverbs 3:5. Let's go to Proverbs 3:5. Okay. Let's go to Proverbs 3:5 because we came from Tobit 12:10, right? Tobit 12:10. Matter of fact, let's go back to Tobit 12:10 just to be sure that we don't lose a point. Tobit 12:10 reads this: But they that sin are enemies of their own life. It's very simple, family. Very simple. Proverbs 3:5. Watch what it says. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. It says, trust in the Most High with all your mind, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Why? Because that understanding is of the flesh. Again, we're going full circle, family. I may bore you with this scripture, but you better chew on this. This should be one of your favorite. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourself. Examine. What does examine mean? While we read over it, let's find out. I think I might have actually looked it up. Examine definition. Examine, inspect in detail to determine their nature or condition. Investigate thoroughly. It says to observe carefully or critically, inspect, examine the room for clues, to study, to analyze, examine a tissue sample under a microscope, examine the structure of a novel, to test, to check the condition or health. I love this one here. Examine the tissue sample under a microscope. You are supposed to examine yourself under a microscope, family. Whether ye be in the faith. If you cannot do that, then you love those spirits. If I were you, I don't subscribe right now. Stop following every damn camp and go have fun in the world. Go have fun. Why fight it? With this understanding, you shouldn't really be considering even sinning. You should be like, man, at least I know now how to battle this damn thing. Because I have these thoughts in my mind and it just seems like it's normal. It's not. Their job is to do exactly that. Take our heritage away. As long as they keep you asleep, you're dead. Examine yourself. Find out what Galatians 5:19 says to you. Know who you are. Whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. And this is how you prove yourselves, because you start analyzing your damn demons and saying, I know who you are, sucker. So when you start seeing that demon in your mind, like me, for example, one example of yours, one example to share, okay? I can see my thoughts kind of going berserk. And I'm like, oh my dear Jesus, like, I cannot believe I'm actually thinking that. And then I nip it in the butt. Whereas before, I was obligated to that thought. So we got to separate ourselves from that. There is such a thing as consciousness and subconsciousness, family. So examine yourself, because these spirits are deep, deep, deep within you. Whether you be in the faith, prove your own self. So how do you prove? By examining and little by little peeling that onion, peeling that skin back, knowing what your enemies are, knowing who your enemies are, and saying, okay, I got you now, sucker. I know now how you fight. Know ye not your own selves? If you don't, it's because you're scared. How that Jesus Christ is in you, except you be reprobates. You're only a reprobate because you allow yourself to be a reprobate. Why? Because you don't examine yourself. That's why the Most High gave us a thorn in the flesh to buffet us, to determine what our issues are. 2 Corinthians 10:5. I'm almost done, fam. 10:5 says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that has exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Then it says on verse 4, for the weapons of warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to pulling down of strongholds. Let's skip verse 6. And having a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. That's having the good fight, fam. That's having a good fight. That's having a good fight. That means you hung in there. You want to say that to yourselves at the end. 1 Timothy 1:7, look what it says. For God had not given us the spirit of fear, fam, but of power and of love, of yourself, of your brethren. And the number one law, love the Most High with all your heart and with all your soul. Walk in his ways, and he loves his family, so you love your brethren. And a sound mind, meaning you know who you are. You know what you deal with. You know these spirits or thoughts. They're no games. It's real talk here. 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God. Study who? Study yourself. Study to show thyself to prove unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed. Don't be scared of looking at you in the mirror and saying, yo, man, that's who I was. That's what I did. That's what's still in me. Got you. Mark that down, fam. You got to avoid them, Jennifer, but you gotta identify them. You got to identify them. To study to show thyself approved unto God. How? By you examining yourself. A workman that needed not to be ashamed. Don't be afraid, family. Rightly dividing the word of truth to find yourself in this walk. Because remember, the Most High dwelleth in you, fam. So do you show yourself approved unto God? By how? By peeling them damn layers of you've been dealing with. And understanding that, yo, I'm dealing with spirits, man. Okay, cool. I'm dealing with thoughts. Okay, cool. All right. I got it now. Okay. Yeah. I kind of read that. My bad, sis. My bad. I'm over here butting in. Let's see. Proverbs 25:28. Watch what it reads. We're almost done. 25:28. He that had no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So he that had no rule of his own spirit, meaning your own mind. You got a spiritual mind and you got a fleshly mind. You guys got to understand that. That's what Paul is talking about. Subdue your own mind. Subdue your own mind. Let's go back to this and then we'll be finished. 2 Timothy 2 and 3. Therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that worth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may be pleased who had chosen him to be a soldier. So no man that worth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. What is this life? The flesh. You don't tangle yourself with that. You will never defeat the flesh. Your best thing to do is discipline your spirit and know when those things attack you, how to defend yourself. Because remember, I'm going to show you this and I'm going to tell you this. Because look, Deuteronomy 28:15, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. They're saying that, oh, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's all done away with. Okay? That's all done away with. God loves everybody. So you Hispanics, you guys are Gentiles. Don't worry about it. But yet we're the ones getting our butts whooped. Why? Again, the question is, what is sin? So if y'all need to ask yourselves, what is sin to you? All right? Anyway, that's all I got, fam. I mean, I really wanted to kind of go deep into this because a lot of times we just hear classes about sin and sin and sin and don't sin and all this and that. I'm like, well, yeah, that's good and that's nice and dandy, bro. But how do you not sin and what the hell does it even mean? Have a great day. Examine yourself. All praises, sis. Yo, I got something for you guys, man. I got something for you. Where is it at? Oh, yeah. Here it goes right here. Oh, no, that's right. I don't got music. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Where you at? Man, I'm going to end it like this. Hold up. Hold on a second.
Hey, homie, I'm getting tired of dudes just getting over on the raza.
All right, fam. Shalom. Love y'all.
Fucker. For being a Mexican.
You ever eat a tamale? It's actually pronounced tamal, singular. Tamal is plural, but let's go with tamale. You ever eat one? Pretty good, aren't they? How about avocado? You know the root word to avocado is aguacate. And if you're from out west like I am, maybe you've run across a coyote. It's pronounced coyote. You know what all these words have in common? None of them are Spanish. They are all Nahua, the language of my ancestors, a remnant of the blood that still runs through my veins. You know when a Mexican does the 21andMe ancestral DNA test, you know what it comes back as? It comes back as anywhere from 45 to 55% Native American. You know what that is? That's because all Euro-Aztec and Nahua-speaking peoples are related to some indigenous tribes here in the U.S. Now, some people have different definitions of what it is to be indigenous and what it means to be foreign. But I'm a simple man, and my definition is pretty simple. And it applies whether or not you're first generation or 27th generation, whether your family came over on the Niña Pinto or Santa Maria, or they came over on the Mayflower and landed on Plymouth Rock. It makes no difference. Now, you might not agree with it, but you can't dispute it. The difference between indigenous and foreign is simply this. You either met the boat or you came over on it. Tate taske, makwale ochle.